Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Ted and Hedy Orden and Family Friday Night Live. We have two special guests tonight, as you see on your screen. We have our rabbinic intern from 2 years ago. Was that right? Alex Rosenbaum and her now fiance Josh Jacobs. So we wanted to start off just by wishing them a Mazel Tov, and Alex and Josh are both rabbinical students at the Ziegler School of Rabbinic Studies. That's still the case. Almost. Yes. Oh, good. Oh, good. I just wanted to check that. Good. So they're also going to give Josh Schott as our guest speakers in the service. So we'll start off by singing Mazel Tov to Alex and Josh. Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Yeh Lanu, Yeh Lanu, Yeh Lanu, Lechol Yisrael, Yeh Lanu, Yeh Lanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Mazel Tov. And we'll welcome you back in a little bit to share some words of Torah. We're going to begin our service now with Rabbis Guzik and Sherman.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Rotenberg. Mazal Tov to Josh and Alex. So good to see
Mazel
Joy.
Tov and Shabbat Shalom.
And as you can see, it's a family affair. We're going to talk about that in a few moments before Lechadodi. But there's no joy without angels, because those angels bring that sense of shalom, that sense of peace on Shabbat, and especially this week on the Shabbat of Hanukkah. We turn in your Siddur, which you can find on the Sinai Temple website under resources on page 5 at the bottom of the page. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem, please join us. Boachem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. May angels bless us. Baruchuni. Baruchuni leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem leShalom. Tzedchem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Hanukkah is called Chag Urim. This is the holiday of lights, and so we are going to sing a song that we don't usually do together. Or Zarua, a new light is planted for the righteous. So if you turn to page 16 in your Siddur Lev Shalem, you can find the words in the Hebrew on the right and the English on the left. We'll sing together as we can imagine what these new lights in this coming year might be. Or Zarua la tzadik u'yishrei simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik u'yishrei simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik
Rabbi Rotenberg just explained Chag Urim. It's the festival of lights. And since we're all Jews, there's 2 people and 3 opinions. Hanukkah is also the story of a rededication of the temple in Jerusalem. You might be wondering where we are right now. We're not in Cone Chapel, where we have been for almost the last year, but we're actually at home. And just before we had an early Shabbat dinner with our children, we said, we know we're going to make our home the synagogue right now. But what are we going to call it? We can't call it Sinai Temple. Should we call it Beth El? Should we call it Beth Shalom? What should we call it? And our 3rd grader, very quick, she looked at us and said, I know. We'll call it Beit Habayit, literally meaning the house of the house. She understood that the word Beit means house in terms of spiritual home. But now it was our home that was becoming the synagogue. And that can be true wherever we are. On this Hanukkah, as we enter the 2nd night, I think we've all learned this past year. Any space can be rededicated at any time. So welcome to Beit Habayit. And we're going to welcome our Shabbat bride into our house, which is now a synagogue. Your house, which is a synagogue. Through the screen, our homes are a synagogue. One synagogue with many homes. And so we turn to page 23, and we're going to sing it to a very different melody tonight. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Because that's exactly what we need when we rededicate our homes into Beit Habayit. Lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'ni borechad ishmi'anu elam meyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad le'shem u'tiferet v'litila lecha dodi. Here we go. Lecha dodi p'nei kahala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat, likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor haberacha. Merosh mikenem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila. Lecha dodi, here we go. And lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. One more verse. Mikdash Melech. Mikdash Melech ir melucha kumitzehi mitoch ha'pecha Rav lach shehevek b'emek habacha vehu yachamol alaychem la. Lecha dodi lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. We face our doors, our exits, our windows as we welcome in the Shabbat bride. Boi b'shalom ateret ba'ala gam b'simcha u'v'tzola tov emunei am segula boi chala. One more time together. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi Tikra kala pehene Shabbat nekabe la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. You may be seated.
We now welcome Josh, who we introduced earlier as the fiance of Alex. He also is a person in his own right to give just fiance of Alex now. To share some words of Torah tonight. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you so much. Just want to thank everybody again, Rabbi Rotenberg, Rabbi Guzik, and Sherman. Thank you so much for having us. David Childs, good friend of ours too. Thank you for having us. It really is such an honor to be here and to be celebrated by you all. Each year, I feel like the Hanukkah story hits me a little bit differently depending on the stage of life that I'm in. And it's a story about an underdog story about a ragtag group of Maccabees facing something way out of its league and emerging victorious. And having just proposed to Alex, who's out of my league in every way, I feel like the underdog who witnessed a miracle. But that's actually what I want to quickly share with you all. In the name of Rabbi Dorf, one of my rabbis and teachers at AJU at Ziegler, he taught us recently that the Al Hanisim prayer, which we're going to say during our Amidah in a little bit, comes right after the Modim. And the question is why? Why put it there? And his answer is that the Modim prayer, which is giving thanks over the everyday miracles, right? Modim, thankful am I for all these little everyday miracles, should always be connected to our thankfulness and appreciation for the great divine big miracles like the miracle of Hanukkah, because you really want both. You don't just want to celebrate the big, the parting of the Red Sea or the miracle of the lights of Hanukkah if you forget about the everyday miracles as well. So Hanukkah, which means dedication, whatever we're dedicating ourselves to right now, and whomever we're dedicating ourselves to. For me, it's Alex for the rest of my life. How can we maintain that appreciation for the big grand miracles, the fact that she said yes, and also the small everyday miracles of for me the mundane things in our relationship as well. So I bless everyone with appreciation for miracles, big and small, and thank you again for having us.
Thank you so much, Josh. Yasher Koach. Thank you for the miracle of Zoom that you can join us, and for the miracle of Zoom that we can continue in our service with the Baruch Hu. We call our cantorial intern David Childs to lead us on page 39A. Please rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed.
You may be seated. We continue on the bottom of page 39A.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, אמרי ורבים. אהבת עולם.
Page 40.
כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
We join together for the Shema, page 41.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
We continue on our own through the second and third paragraphs of the Shema on page 42.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. We're on page 43a.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ובני ישראל, לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע הים לפני משה, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
We'll now invite our rabbinic intern, our once upon a time rabbinic intern from a few years ago, Alex Rosenbaum, to share a few words of Torah. Hello, Alex. Mazel tov again.
Oh, thank you. I want to thank everyone, again, I want to echo what Josh said. It's so wonderful to be back here. This is really such a special community for both of us, and I'm just thrilled to be here with you all tonight. I've been thinking over the past few days about this midrash in Bereshit Rabbah, where Adam, after having committed the first sin, sees his first sunset. The sun begins to go down, and Adam becomes terrified, thinking that the world is descending back into chaos and darkness and desolation because of his wrongs. And so he and Eve weep through the night. And when the morning comes and he sees the sun come up, he says, "Such is the way of nature." Like, this is how the world works. And then God gives Adam 2 flints so that he can create fire and light up the night. It has felt like a particularly dark time these past few months. Aside from my engagement to Josh, which has been a real burst of light in it all, there has been a lot of darkness, like this pandemic. It feels like it will never end, and like we've forgotten how to talk to each other, and like the world, at least our part of it in California, is burning. But the way of the world is that light comes back, that the sun rises again in the morning, and we have the tools to create light in the darkness while it lasts. We have Zoom, we have each other. You can get engaged. It's really great. We have the tools, and I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom and happy Hanukkah.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
Beautiful to hear your words of Torah, Josh's words of Torah, and to see you together, even though you're in 2 separate boxes tonight. God willing, one day in the same box, and all together with our Sinai family. We turn to page 45, a prayer for peace. Hashkivenu, please join us in song. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Ushmor tzeiteinu uvoeinu lechayim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amidenu malkeinu leshalom. Shalom, shalom,
We continue with Vishamru. What page are we on, Rabbi Rotenberg?
46, Cancer
Page
Day Child.
46.
Please rise. Page 46 for Vishamru.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, לדורותם ברית עולם.
We continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on the bottom of page 46.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קדושה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בהלמה ואמרו Amen.
We'll continue with the silent Amidah for our evening service beginning on page 47. You can take this time and say the words in the Siddur. You can take a moment and pray the words from your heart. We'll take a little bit of time together for silent prayer and reflection. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. We'll take a few moments for private prayer. Page 47. Once a year, we get to sing my favorite one of Debbie Friedman's songs. She wrote it for Hanukkah. It's called Light These Lights. I invite you to sing along with me if you know it. Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with us light these lights and sing our way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and sing our way to you, and let us say Amen. Oh, hear my prayer. Oh, hear my prayer. I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights. Let us light these lights and sing our way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and sing our way to you, and let us say Amen.
Yasher Koach, that was beautiful. It's been a hard week in the sense that for our family, we received some hard news. For our professional community, we received some hard news. And for many of our congregants, I know that many are suffering with illness and hardship right now. And it's been a heavy, 9 months, 10 months of this. How many months now of this pandemic? 9 months or so of this pandemic. But one of our congregants actually said to me yesterday, it's here. The pandemic has really hit our community hard right now. In this week particular, I think we are feeling it. And I was thinking about this heaviness as I looked at the Hanukkah last night and tonight, and I had the realization that, yes, as I've said often, one light can pierce the darkness, yes, but I actually want to talk about the darkness. I find it interesting that you light the candles, and yet that shamash and the first candle and the second candle, they don't exist on their own, but rather they're accompanied. They sit with the other empty spots of the candle holders. And so in a sense, you see darkness and light sitting side by side, I think the way they're supposed to be. A recognition that wherever there is light, there is also darkness. And wherever there is joy, there is also heartbreak. And I bring this up as well because I was thinking months ago when we were talking about Pesach, which hard to believe that we had prepared so hard for Pesach in a pandemic. Little did we know we would also be preparing for Shavuot and then the High Holy Days and Hanukkah. But during Pesach, I remember talking about the plague of darkness and the fact that although the Egyptians were experiencing a darkness so thick, so tangible as if they could touch it, at the same time, the Israelites, it said that they were flooded with light, that they were living with light. And so it wasn't just that the Egyptians were existing in darkness, but they could actually see the Israelites basked in this glow. And I remember bringing it up at the time for us to remember that even those that feel as if light exudes within their souls, it's our responsibility to remember those who feel as if a shadow looms over them. Erez's sister is a nurse. One of his sisters is a nurse, and she just started a new job. And she told two very poignant tales this week. The first of which, it just brings me chills. I shared it with another group. She said each morning the staff gets together. They come together in a circle. They hold a moment of silence for those who have passed away from COVID. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to get this right, but I think they say something to the extent, 1, 2, 3, let's beat COVID. Or what is it? We will beat COVID. They say it all in unison together. So there's that. But she also mentioned that in the same day as she hears multiple code blues, every time a baby is born, she hears a lullaby over the loudspeaker. And so often in the same moment, she may hear that call of death, and she also hears the call of life. And the fact is, one doesn't outweigh the other, they sit side by side. And so tonight, as we look at our Shabbat candles and we look at our Hanukkah, I want us to remember, and I want us to try to call attention to the fact that wherever we bring light in, darkness still exists. And wherever darkness exists, light is nearby. And the fact is that in the cycle of life, there is both. And we hold both of those pieces in our heart, knowing that we walk this road with those that feel raised up, and we walk this road with those that feel very low. And in our tradition, we recognize both. We hold both. And with the darkness and with the light, I pray that we walk with peace. Shabbat Shalom. Okay. Cantor Childs, is that right? Cantor Childs? I'll ask Cantor Childs to please lead us and ask everyone to please rise for Aleinu.
I was so absorbed in your drash.
Aleinu is found on page 56. Page 56, please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נודה שמיים. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We recall with affection those who no longer walk this earth, grateful to God for the gift of their lives, for their sweet companionship, and for their cherished memories which endure. May God comfort all who mourn. This Shabbat, we recall the passing of the mother of Marla Waldman, with the funeral services to be announced in the coming week. We also recall the Yortzites will be observed during this coming week. Mab Ashforth, Sion Bar Kohana, Henry Benray, Samuel Bernstein, Pearl Bez, Florence Bischoff, Leslie Bleeden, Marvin D. Bordy, Morris Brodowski, Martin Bretler, Kenneth Cutler, Davu Dayani, Hannah Dolsky, Michael David Elihu, Alex Farkas, Yetta Fast, Sybil Franklin, Harriet Freund, Jacob Friedberg, Martin Gendel, Harry Gershman, Guilford Glazer, Ida Glazer, Harry Glickman, David Goldman, Gregory Daniel Goldner, Rose Guglick, Harold Guzet, Hilbert Grossman, Victoria Halimi, Mashallah Halimi, Clara Herman, Samuel Hoffman, Eshag Imani, Ralph Kahan, Kamiyar Cameron, Barbara Kaplan, Peter Katzman, Howard Kaufman, Lisa Kavanaugh, Nejat Herschel Kubian, Julian Kinrich, Regina Klein, Behruz Kohanzadeh, Harry Kravitz, Belle Lawrence, Daisy Levy, Rachel Levy, William Lewis, Philip Lind, Andrew Lowinger, Kamiyar Meir, Tavus Monir Malamed, Lynn Miller, Leon Morel, Yehuda Molayim, Albert Moscow, Muriel Moster, Monir Musa, Brian Murphy, Kodadad, Nathan, Davud Nazarian, Faizola Neiman, Helen Neubauer, Mary R. Neubauer, Rosa Nikzad, Keshvar Nosrati, Charlie Noxon, Howard Olansky, Silva Oppenheimer, Hilda Perfit, Fanny Pilot, Beatrice Polanski, Heshmat Pura, Helen Rachmiel, Batsheva Rakau, Eric Rollman, Leonard Saget, Goldie Kivel Salkin, Joseph Samuelson, Dora Schmidt, Judith Schultz, Tilly Shapiro, Belle Shapiro Jacobson, Devorah Schildkraut, Goldie Siegel, Melvin Silverman, Lila Silverstein, Lillian Sonnenbleck, Henry Suskin, Ann Tarley, Joseph Temkin, Eva Waltz, Sarah Jenny Weiss, Leonard Randolph White, Seymour White, Julie Pamela Wilstein, Mansour M. Yashar, Irving S. Zweiben. We ask those in mourning or observing a yortzeit to please ride on page 58. Page 58 with the words of the mourner's Kaddish to sanctify God's holy name. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divara chirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'izman kari v'maru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach leolam olomei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpawar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Yitadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barichu. Liela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiram bi'alma v'yimaru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. Osei shalom bimromav hu ya'asei shalom. Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. May God who brings peace unto heavens bring peace unto all those who mourn. And let us say, amen. And before I hand it back to Rabbi Rotenberg, as Rabbi Guzik just spoke about, the darkness and the light, they literally sit side by side. And so we can't go without mentioning two births in our community over these last couple of weeks. Mazel tov to Sonia and Danny Franklin on the birth of their daughter, Dahlia Eve, born December 5th. And to Lauren and Brandon Lane on the birth of their son, Jake Robert Lane, who is the grandson of our good friends, Rana and Ron Spiegel. And to Janice Spiegel and Aaron Spiegel Sherman on the birth of their nephew. Mazal Tov, as we continue to find joy in this beautiful time of Hanukkah. Rabbi Rotenberg.
Mazal Tov. Yashir Koach, Rabbi Sherman, Yashir Koach, Rabbi Guzik. Thank you so much to everybody who joined us tonight, to Alex and Josh, and of course to our cantorial intern, David Childs. I only have two announcements tonight. There's still, I believe, one more cooking class in the JFS and Atid cooking series. Atid and JFS partnered for the first one, and our own Laura and Joey of Sinai Temple taught us how to make persimmon latkes, and I believe there's one more class. You can go on to the Atid Facebook page, and you could find a link to register. The last is I want to make sure you know about our Sinai Temple's big Hanukkah event, From Darkness to Light, this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. It's a video which features Henry Platt and Maya Bialik, 24K Golden, Craig Taubman, Gabriel Mann, and the whole clergy at Sinai Temple. It's going to be a wonderful way to end Hanukkah. A lot of light, a lot of ruach, and I hope you'll join us for that. And also a hello from our Atid director who is still on maternity leave, Brianna Benarin. She says hello. She's doing well, and that's it. I'm just sending you her regards. So with that, Rabbi Sherman.
Thank you. And a mazal tov to Josh and to Alex. It's so wonderful to see you and have you continually connect with our Sinai Temple community. So let's all turn on our cameras as we do a little Hanukkah medley. We'll lead from over here in Beit Habayit, the new wing of Sinai Temple, as we come together, enjoy during this dark time outside, but really light and filled with light inside. So we'll start with Mount Tzur, and then we'll sing a couple of Hanukkah songs. Otzor Yeshuati, Lecha Nahel Leshabeya, Tikom Beit Tefilati, V'sham Toda Nezabeya, V'yetachin Matbeya, Mitzaram Nabeya, Az Egmor V'shir Mizmor, Hanukkah HaMizbeach, Az Egmor V'shir Mizmor, Hanukkah HaMizbeach. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, היפה כל כך, אור חביב מסביב, גיל ילד רך. חנוכה, חנוכה, סביבון סוף סוף, סוף סוף סוף, סוף סוף סוף, מה נעים וטוב. סביבון סוף סוף סוף, חנוכה הוא חג טוב, חנוכה הוא חג טוב. סביבון סוף סוף סוף, חג שמחה הוא לעם, נס גדול היה שם, רק שמחה הוא לעם, נס גדול היה שם. חג שמח, שבת שלום.
Shabbat Shalom.
everybody.
Happy Hanukkah.
חג שמח.
Sameach.
Next